Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid and another morning ramble. I want to start this ramble out this morning by wishing a belated 43rd birthday to our subscriber named Nick Keith. Happy belated birthday, Nick. You're about 2 years younger than me, so here's your shout out, belated happy birthday. Nick kind of left a comment yesterday on the video I made about ready or not, here time comes, and like it or not, time marches on. Nick mentioned that he's kind of been thinking these same things lately because he just turned 43, and he's been asking himself, who am I? What have I done? And he said he feels like he's just surviving. Well, Nick, congratulations, because I've talked about this in other rambles before, and the older I get, and not that I know much of anything, but I think that's really what it's all about. Now, we know it's not about merely existing, because existing is not living. It's actually quite the opposite of living. Are we doing what we're happy? Are we doing it with whom we're happy being with? Those are the questions I ask myself. But if you're surviving, buddy, you're doing something right, because a lot of people just don't make it. There's a lot of people who already are at the point in their mind to where they've lost the ability to ask themselves the questions you're asking yourself right now, because they stopped surviving years ago. What does that mean? Okay, now this is how Crazy Lake sees it. And isn't that a beautiful view behind me? I'm actually just inside my wood line to make this ramble so that the sun's not in my eyes, but the view is so beautiful. It's Happy Halloween today. So happy Halloween, everybody. Be safe if you're out there this evening with your kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, trick-or-treating. Be safe. Make sure to know the area where you're going. Be visible. Keep lights or whatever. You guys know all about that. So here's what I'm talking about. This morning, for some strange reason, before I came up here to do this ramble, I decided to see what was trending on YouTube. I am completely out of touch with pop culture, and this is an example of how much I'm out of touch with pop culture. When I looked at the trending stuff on YouTube, I didn't understand any of it. I didn't know what any of it was. The closest thing I saw was something about Michael Myers. It was like number 29 on trending. It was like the evolution of Michael Myers from 1978 to 2018, and it was showing like how his masks and everything has changed. It was like, I don't know, 3-minute video or something, but everything else, like the songs, the videos, what was popular, I had no clue. And this is the point I'm kind of trying to make here about what Nick was talking about he's only surviving. That's huge. And the fact that you can question yourself, Nick, and you can ask these questions is proof that you're doing it right more than you think, because you can still think. I don't understand pop culture. I didn't know who any of these groups or singers were, is because I tuned out of that decades ago. I mentioned yesterday in the morning ramble the song Broken Wings by Mr. Mister. It wasn't shortly after that I kind of stopped the whole pop culture thing. I don't watch professional sports. Sure, we go to the UVA football games sometimes. We go to at least one game a year, and that's all we've been to. This year's one. And that's for the atmosphere and the event. I rarely even watch the game. I don't watch a lot of the plays. I take in the environment, the people, the band. I watch the band more than I watch the players, and this is no disrespect to UVA, no disrespect to the college athletes. I was a college athlete. I ran track and cross country in college. It was something that was important to me. It's just, my thoughts are my own. I want to think the way I think. I don't want to think the way the world wants me to think, or the way society wants me to think. And one of the keys I've found in doing that is unplugging from current pop culture. Now, sure, every now and then there'll be a performer, a singer, a group that just really creates art that stands out and really resonates with me. Now, I'll get into that, and I mentioned on here before, there's a band I like called Imagine Dragons. There's just something about their music that talks to me. And so I do listen to them. But I typically just play playlists on YouTube, instrumental type songs where there's no lyrics, no words at all, like piano music, instrumental guitar, nature sounds, and I'll listen to that while I'm working or while I'm doing things around the house. But I was thinking about these things when I saw Nick's comments, and it just made me realize, Nick, if you're surviving, you know, I read this in a book recently. The character was an older character, and it was a book of fiction. And I looked up the author because I'd never heard of her. It turns out she teaches English Lit at Princeton or something, and so she's a pretty good writer. But the older character in the book talked about how, as he aged, he realized surviving was the answer to life. The key, the secret everybody's looking for. What's the meaning? This guy had gotten older and he realized basically it was surviving, because so many people don't. And just because you're still here doesn't mean you're surviving if you're merely existing. If you're not doing what you love, if you're not doing it with the people you love, if you aren't in control of your own thoughts. Okay, Nick, you're 43. I'm getting ready to turn 45 in November. If you're our age or older and you can look at what's trending on YouTube and you know who those bands are and you know those songs, no offense, but you might be past the point of safely unplugging, and you might want to think about unplugging. And this is just how I think. And again, they call me Crazy Lake, and it's probably for a pretty good reason. But if you read the description on our About here on our channel, I say it there, and I've said this before in videos, that a more appropriate name for our channel would probably be Homesteading Off the Matrix, because we are not yet entirely off the grid. We do hope to be someday. But we are off the matrix, as in we don't think the way other people want us to think. We don't think the way society wants us to think. And this, Nick, is how, and everybody else watching, is how I've survived. This is my gauge. When I looked at the trending lists and I didn't know, and not all of it was music. There were some like little sitcoms and stuff. I didn't even know what those topics were about. That's how far out of tune with pop culture, or how far removed from the matrix I am. So, and I consider that a good thing. Now, along these lines, I was also thinking about keeping calm and keeping consistent. For me, this is, and I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about here. This has been a large, this has been instrumental in surviving throughout the years for me in any endeavor I've done with anything I do. Shortly after I quit the job I hated that made me miserable, which, as we all know, was the post office, I would do a lot of these morning rambles, and they were inspirational. And I would talk about keeping the faith, keeping positive, making your morning gratitude list. And this is something I do on a regular basis. Like one of the first, while I'm having my first cup of coffee, I'm thinking of the things I'm grateful for. And somebody commented back then, and this comment has stuck with me, and I'm going to bring it up now because I'm currently doing it again, and I want to show you the proof in the pudding. This person said, "Too bad you couldn't remember all these things when you had that job you hated that made you miserable." And I addressed that in a later video, and I said, actually, I did. Once I saw that I'd done everything within my powers that I could do to make my situation better, and I saw that the situation still was not going to get better, I left the situation. So I'm going to talk to you now about our YouTube channel and the fact that right now, as of this recording, our views are way down. They're the lowest they've been in probably 4 months, but I don't care, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it is naturally, innately in tune in me through many, many years of practice to keep calm and keep consistent. Okay. What do we do here? Many of you, well, most of you who are watching this are regular subscribers. There'll be about 1,500 or 1,600 of you watch this video in the next 24 hours, and about 2,000 of you watch it over the next 48 hours, and then it'll drop off. We won't get many views off of this video. Our videos that get the longer term consistent views are my wife's cooking videos, actual how-to gardening type stuff like the garlic video I made yesterday, when and how to plant garlic, and then whatever YouTube decides to feature that that goes viral when they do. Now, they featured obviously the neighbor in the crayon video. Last week, for some reason, they seemed to feature the post office video for 5 days. They featured other videos throughout our tenure here on YouTube. The pennies in a bag of water to get rid of flies, Dearly's zucchini salad video, these things. It appears as if currently YouTube is not featuring any of our videos and our views are way down. Now, I could handle this one of two ways. I could come out here and cry and say YouTube's picking on me because I talk about being positive, accepting those of you for your views, even though they might be different than mine. I could come up with any litany of excuses. I could tell you, oh, we're going to start charging you to see our videos now, and this is why. No. I keep calm, I keep consistent, I keep to the facts. YouTube simply is not featuring any of our content right now, so our views are down. Number two, that's outside of my control, so I'm not going to concern myself with that. We've found that what works for us is consistently making 3 videos a day. Morning ramble, Dearly's cooking video, and something else. Typically, we prefer like a how-to or an instructional piece, but that's what we do, okay? Now, number 3, and I've discovered this for 45 years of living, not just here on 2 years at YouTube. If we keep calm and if we keep consistent, we can, as Nick Keith said, survive. That is what I've found is a key to survival. So I'm not going to try to hoodwink anybody and charge you $5 a month to watch videos that you can watch for free like you're doing now. We create them for free, we upload them for free, you watch them for free. That's how we're going to keep it. I'm not going to play like I'm a victim and I've said something YouTube didn't like, so they're not featuring me anymore. No, there's an algorithm that I think changes quite regularly. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to meet it, and I will never make videos to try to match a mythical algorithm. That's not how we do things here. We keep it real. We use a $3 digital camera we bought at a thrift store and my wife's obsolete iPhone 6. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep doing it consistently. We're going to keep calm, and this leads to survival. So I'm going to wrap things up because it is Halloween and we've got plans for today. We'll probably share some of that with you later, maybe tonight. That's probably going to be our 3rd video for today. So I hope you got something out of this. I think there was a point here, and that point is I like thinking like me, not the way the world wants me to think. So I'm not concerned at all that I don't understand current pop culture. I don't panic when things trend downward with what I have going on because I've learned throughout the years to keep calm, keep consistent. Everything's cyclical and things will eventually trend back up. And Keith, or Mr. Keith, Nick Keith, thinking that you're not doing right because you're merely surviving, that's a little bit of stinking thinking, because if you're surviving in this crazy world in which we live, you, my man, are winning. You're doing something right. Keep consistently doing it. Keep at it. Keep surviving. And keep calm and just keep surviving. So thanks for being with me for another morning ramble from here at Homesteading Off the Grid, and we will see you for more next time.